Hello YouTube, Devin here again. I'm going to start off this video by thanking all of my new subscribers for choosing to subscribe. And I'm very appreciative of how fast the channel's grown over this past few days. So if you guys would like to first subscribe, any of you new people, and please like this video. I would very much appreciate it. If you have any comments right off the bat for anything you'd like to see, feel free to leave those now. Without further ado, we'll get right into the helmet here. Now, this is a Russian helmet, and it's Russia's newest standard issue helmet, and it is the 6B47. It's made out of KVS, which is an aramid type fiber. It's a lot lighter than Kevlar. This helmet weighs, despite being the same size as the ACH, about half as much. But still offering the same amount of coverage. It's pretty much the same shape as an ACH. It does have a slight lip at the front, but that's mostly what they used on the rim of the helmet. So now this helmet has everything on it as how I would wear it. I didn't bother taking anything off because if you've seen the ACH, you've seen the shape of this. There's not much change other than the suspension. It is a little bit wider than the ACH, but it's pretty much the same shape. So there's a couple cool features to this helmet that we'll get into though before once we get to talking about it and everything like that. But first we're gonna go over the attachments that are on it. Now I have the Russian 6B50 goggles on here. They're pretty much giant rubber science goggles with the polycarbonate lens. It's a dual pane polycarbonate lens. So they don't fog up, and they breathe pretty well. They're pretty light. They're fairly comfortable. The strap is wide, and it's rubberized on the back, so it doesn't move around. And overall, it's a pretty good goggle design. It's got little hinged brackets on the side, which I really like compared to a lot of US goggles. It's a lot more comfortable to a lot more different head sizes. And then we'll flip it over to the other side here. Now this helmet, the first feature it has over the ACH is a built-in rail here on the side. And it's a Picatinny rail, just like you would find on a weapon normally, whereas a lot of the US helmet rails are arc rails, which are like a reverse Picatinny. You would slide something into that rather than slide something into an arc rail, which is like C-shaped. It's clamped like this, and you would slide something into it, whereas the Picatinny is T-shaped, and you would slide something onto it. So, and as you can see, I have the Russian helmet light here. It's pretty much a copy of a Streamlight Compact. Instead of taking the CA123 batteries, it takes a AA battery. It's even got a Russian battery in it, and it has your standard LED. It swivels. It has your standard one LED, and then it has a blue, green, and red LED, whereas the US ones have blue and green and then infrared. So it also has the blink and it has the adjustability brightnesses. It works pretty much the same exact way as a Streamlight does. If you're familiar with one of those, if you've ever been in the military, you've probably had either a Surefire or a Streamlight at some point. So the other cool feature that this helmet has is it has a built-in night vision shroud right on the front, and the cover has flaps that uncover or cover all of these when they're in use or not in use, as well as having little foliage straps on the side. And I like this helmet cover a lot because this helmet cover, as you can see, there's probably some uneven bumps and stuff in it. That's because it has these two big like neck flaps that fold up in here, and in the winter you can wear those down, and they have little grommets in the ears so you can still hear and stuff like that, but it's a very good wind and rain blocker. Or if you're airborne, it's an extra suspension method that you can wear over the normal chin strap that's on this to help secure the helmet even more. So it's a very well thought out, very nice helmet, and I wonder why more countries haven't adopted a design like this for a cover at least, because this is probably the nicest helmet cover of any helmet I've ever seen. So back has little wire routing spots to run under the helmet if you need to. There's little covers here. Everything's covered by Velcro. So there's just the tube if you wanted to run something back there, like your goggles or anything like that. You can do that. just to hold the strap. It comes standard with these little retention straps. They're not held onto the shell. They're just routed through these 2 cuts in the cover. And the cover is held on with a drawstring, which is very, very simple. It's very hard to go wrong. I don't like how the U.S. how you have to route your helmet cover through your chin strap. You have to route your chin strap through your helmet cover and everything like that. It's a lot of work, and it's really unnecessary when you have other options out there that are just so simple. Now, before we get into it, this helmet is a size large, and I'll give you a good once over here before we take a look at the liner. And here's the liner. It's kind of reminiscent of a Pazgat, but it's this cotton material. It's almost 100% cotton. It's a really soft material. The only thing I would recommend that they change about this helmet is they use a little bit thicker, wider webbing on the crown, and they put a wider sweatband in it, because I had to put a leather sweatband over the little cotton one, because the cotton one, as you can see, is very, very narrow. You can see the other one, the one that I put in over the normal one, is a lot wider. This is like a 3/4 inch sweatband, and it tends to cut into your head a lot, so I put this leather one over it to make it more bearable. Now, I understand that's probably like, if you're in the Russian military, you're probably like, oh, you're just calling me a wuss right now, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I could tolerate wearing the little 3/4 inch strap, but there's a lot better options out there. So chin strap is pretty simple. It's your standard 3-point. It's mounted up here with one of the screws. Each little mount point has a screw, and I have goggle retention straps up there to hold it in the front, so those don't come standard. Those are just what I put on there. Here's the rear of the chin strap, which is made out of a coarser, as you can see the differences in the coarseness of the weave. This is made out of a coarser, rougher material, and it's held in place with that big kind of, this is also a screw and a washer at the same time. So it's just a really, really wide screw, which I like. It's a convenient way to attach stuff. It's kind of like an A washer you would see on a Pazgat, but round. Now here's the piece of fabric that's covering the 2 screw points that hold in the rail. Now, if you really wanted to, you could peel this off and take the rail off. I probably wouldn't recommend it, though. It's a very nice thing to have. And you could always just cover it up with the cover, and it'll be pretty smooth and flush. You don't have to worry about it catching on anything if you would like to run a very low profile design. So here's one of the stamps in there, and it says OTR APM on it. I don't know if that's the manufacturer, but that says OTR APM. It has a star with a number 6 in it. These are normally worn off if they're used, but this is a brand new helmet, so they're pretty intact. Now here's the other stamp, which says, it's pretty hard to see here, but it says DBM, and then it says in like little air quotes APMOKOM, and then it has the model number, which is 6B47, and then it has 06.471.05.14, and it says 3. There's 3 little vertical slashes, and then a PA3MEP 58. So that's what size it is. I'm guessing is 58. So that's what size I ordered, and that's the size I wear. And this helmet fits very comfortably. Now, this is a pain in the ass to adjust the circumference of, because you have one here, one circle adjustment tie here, which is double looped through, so it's not singular, so you have to really kind of yank on it. And it has another one on the other side, which makes this and one more in the back, which does give you options to adjust it, especially if you like one side of the helmet tends to be sloping down a little bit more than the other side. This offers a great way to adjust it, but it seems needlessly complicated, and it's really hard to do instead of just having one adjustment in the back like the Pazgat did. So, and then the crown pad is tied with this very thick kind of herringbone cotton webbing, which also acts as like your pad. It's actually very comfortable, because instead of using a little string, a nylon string like a shoelace like the Pazgat did, this kind of negated that problem by spacing everything out a little bit more and being a comfortable, not as dense material So it actually feels pretty nice. You could wear this helmet for quite a long time, especially since it is so light, weighing just under 3 pounds. Whereas my large ACH, which we'll compare this one to here in a little bit, weighs just under 5 pounds. So this is a very, very good helmet. This helmet also will stop higher threats than the ACH. This will stop a 7.62 Tokarev, which is a very, very, very hot pistol cartridge, which will go through an ACH. And this helmet, it costs about half as much to produce as an ACH, and it's made out of cheaper materials and a cheaper way manufacturing process than the ACH. So it's an all-around better helmet in almost every category. So I don't know why more countries don't use stuff like this. Now, all the keepers on it are leather for wear resistance. So, and it's got little M slider buckles for everything. So that'll pretty much cover the inside of the helmet here. Now, except for the chin cup. The chin cup is non-adjustable, so you can't make it narrower or wider. This is just how it comes, and it's held in place with a snap, one snap that you route through a D-ring on the left side of the helmet. So this isn't my favorite Russian helmet. My favorite Russian helmet is the one that this replaced, which is the 6B27, which has got kind of a little bit longer bill on it, and it's a little bit more of a Pazgat style of helmet, but it has pretty much the same suspension system in it. So now we'll compare this to an ACH. So it might be a little hard here because they all have the attachments on them. But here's the ACH. As you can see, the ACH is a little bit taller. It's a little bit narrower than the 6B47. The 6B47 is designed to fit a lot wider group of people. They only come in 3 sizes, which would be like extra small and small, medium and large, and extra large. Whereas the ACH comes in extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large. So it has 5 sizes. So that's a cost-saving measure on the Russians' part. This doesn't come with the night vision mount standard. This has to be separate and then installed, whereas it's on the 6B47 from the factory. The only thing that I really would say is better personally on the 6B47 is the suspension, just because I hate the ACH pads. You'll hear me say that in a lot of videos, because the ACH pads, they hold too much heat when you're in a hot climate. They don't stick to the Velcro inside the shell in a cold climate, and they're way too hard in a cold climate. As well as they're dense, so they transfer a lot more of that shock directly into your head than an air suspension system like the 6B47 has. So I mean, I understand the US put a lot of time and effort into their ACH pads and stuff like that, and it's a good system. But I really like the Pazgat style and everything better. It's a lot more effective for where I live, which can have very, very hot temperatures and very, very cold temperatures. So it makes sense for me to use a Pazgat style suspension over an ACH type of suspension. Also, this suspension you don't need to replace until something goes wrong. ACH pads you have to replace every 6 months regardless of use. So that's just another thing that's adding up to the price of the ACH. So we'll pretty much wrap the video up here on the 6B47 Russian Aramid helmet here. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. And you leave a like, leave a comment. If you haven't, please subscribe. I'd love to answer any questions you have on anything. It doesn't have to be just on this helmet. Feel free to drop me a line. If you have any questions or concerns, especially when it comes to sizing. I have a lot of helmets from a lot of different countries, and all their sizing seems to be slightly different. So I could really help you size your head if you need to know what size you need and for what helmet type you want to get, or if you need help trying to figure out which one would be best for where you live, what environment you live in. I can help you out with that too. Or if you just want to suggest topics for future videos, or you just want to give me a little praise or tell me I suck or whatever, feel free to do that too. So I will leave it here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.